Selective service is a process engaged in order to allow for the listing of men who are eligible for military service in the event that there is a formal declaration of war and there needs to be a draft implemented in order to call up the nation's eligible military forces to participate in the war effort. However, there is much discussion, precedent, and argumentation and opinions that have already been set discussing the distinction between a standing military and the exercise of our Second Amendment right to be a part of a militia, what constitutes a standing militia, and the specific boundaries between our constitutional right to be a part of a militia as opposed to any intercession on behalf of or by the federal government when it comes to the formal relationship of a standing military and the citizens. Secondly, there is also a very significant history of argumentation in this country against the legitimization of a wartime draft and the actual requirement for selective service to begin with, including people that have a conscientious objector status against participation in any acts of war, which is protected under your First Amendment right to freedom of religion and worship, but is also potentially in consideration in regards to who and in what manner a command authority is established and asserted. An illegitimate effort to participate as if you are in charge of the standing forces of the United States military does not give anybody a right to expect other people to then be inherently dependent upon or obligated to performance as if they are under the command authority of an illegitimate, alleged state actor. This isn't just about not having a political preference or having a political preference against somebody that was duly elected. If there is sabotage, if there is crime involved in the actual process by which somebody presumes to be able to position themselves as if they're entitled to participate in a command structure, including that associated with the United States military, we as citizens have a duty to challenge the misrepresentation that we would allow ourselves to be obligated under the terms of a false leadership paradigm. Additionally, presumably, women are not eligible for selective service. Furthermore, might I remind you that at this time we are in a situation where there has been significant crime visited upon the people of the United States, including crimes involving issuances of municipal bonds that were done in such a manner as to attempt to obligate people to illegal debt service in violation of our 14th Amendment, but also in manners that have allowed for promulgation of completely unconstitutional legislation that actually, by the letter of the law, violates our 13th Amendments as well. And part of the contrivances by which this has been accomplished is involving a case of somebody who was actually elected to the Georgia legislature and made a public protest against the use of selective service requirements in compelling somebody to register as part of a draft for a war effort in a manner he did not agree with. This is somebody that was elected to public office and exercised their constitutional right to engage in a constitutional process to challenge what he understood to be constitutional violations by attempting to require him to participate in a process that he understood was in violation of his rights. Do not let anybody degrade you or debase you into thinking you're remanded to nothing more than some token verbalization of an acknowledgement that allows for them to say that you conceded to accept their illegitimate authority. It's not very sincere to say you're grateful for something or that you're thankful for something that was forced upon you or for which you were coerced into performing, just because the acknowledgement of that kind of gratitude is being wielded by somebody else in an effort to say they were justified in what they did.